Good evening. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi. As always, we are broadcasting on not one but two platforms simultaneously. On YouTube, so that people can get a visual experience and actually read the guided meditation over my shoulder. And also on Instagram, so that because some people aren't content to ask their questions by typing in the chat bar, they actually want to ask in real time, face to face. So for people who prefer that, they can always, if they're on wow, okay, if they are on YouTube, they can go to the description area below the live stream and click the link to get to my Instagram feed, join the live stream, punch the request button, and join. Now, if it takes me a few minutes to recognize you, you may have to do it a few times. That's just the nature of the beast. Now, if you're not an extrovert and you prefer to ask your questions by typing, that's fine. What is the topic of tonight's class? Tonight is the 13th lesson, and it's the concise practice of love and letting go. And this is indeed a concise practice. But it's a mistake to confuse the length of a practice with its power. If you find value in these live streams or podcasts or blogs or class materials free for the downloading, then please consider supporting this channel using the link below the live stream on YouTube or the link in my, in my bio on Instagram, in the link tree. Just follow the shortcut. If you can't do that at this time, then please support this channel by clicking subscribe and clicking the notification bell, by clicking the thumbs up icon, as well as typing in a comment. These things help with the algorithm. Okay, let's get to it. As you can tell, this is a Word document. When you go to the download page, the version there will be a PDF that has been designed or formatted to be read upon your smartphone in the horizontal position. Now, you gotta download the free Kindle app. It will allow you to navigate and bookmark the PDF with ease. You'll thank me for that. The recommended reading for this lesson is the blog entry, Fear in the Time of COVID-19. The easiest way to find that blog entry is through the downloads page. Once again, whose link can be found in the description area below the live stream. So we're going to explore this. I'm going to give you a bit of background. The Buddha did not invent meditation, but he invented a specific style of meditation unique to him. Before the Buddha's time, one of the most popular forms of meditation was simply concentration, rigid and compressing. The Buddha, after his epiphany of the middle way, forsook concentration for mindfulness, which is the opposite of concentration. It's flexible and relaxed and expansive and vulnerable and non-analytical. Of course, having done that, he was inundated with sensory information. So the Buddha found it helpful to organize, and by inundated, I mean He was perceiving things without him and within him, things that were painful, things that were pleasurable, things that were glorious, things that were grotesque. He was perceiving sensations and flavors and scents and sounds and sights, as well as emotions and intentions and thoughts and memories and fantasies. So, with all those categories of stuff going on, Buddha found it useful to organize things into 4 bases. And those are, well, in the context of the love trainings, those would be circumstance and body and relationships and mind. And so we organize our well wishes in harmony with that. And believe it or not, doing that not only simplifies the process and makes it more convenient. Oops, let me adjust the microphone. That might make it easier for you. But it also helps us to be less clingy, helps us to be less averse to inconveniences, helps us to be less reachy for bright, shiny objects in our life, helps us to be less clingy to what we already have. But don't take my word for it. Test it in the laboratory of your own body and mind by practicing these techniques 5 minutes every morning and 5 minutes every evening. Excuse me. So, we're going to substitute the word good fortune, which is 3 syllables, for the word boon. Because in contemplative notation, we strive to use an economy of syllables. At the top of the page, the heading reads circumstances. And so good fortune pertains to circumstances. On the left, we see in smaller font the phrase in breath, followed by the phrase out breath. These 2 phrases serve as a type of contemplative notation, not dissimilar to musical notation. And what they infer is that when we notice our body breathing, we silently and mentally recite boon for all. And when we notice our body breathing out, we silently and mentally recite relaxing. Now, you might say, and rightly so, dude, I'm not Morgana the Mage or Merlin the Magician. How can I be expected to lavish people with good fortune when I can't lavish myself with good fortune? And the answer is, you don't have to. You don't have to make it happen. You don't have to force it to happen. You don't have to feel it to happen. You don't have to believe it into happening. All you have to do is simply wish it. In Tibet, this is described as wishing love. And it's a powerful tool to strengthen the neural pathways of our midbrain, responsible for our impulses of empathy and cooperation. And just as the more you walk a goat path when hiking in a public park, the wider it gets, in a similar manner, the more we access the neural pathways of empathy within our midbrain, the stronger and stronger they get, just like the forging of any habit or the acquisition of any skill. Now, this is not pranayama. The Buddha taught. The advent of the Buddha was many centuries prior to the invention of pranayama. Buddha did not teach breath control, nor breath concentration. But when we notice our body breathing in, we can silently and mentally recite boon for all. And when we notice our body breathing out, we can silently and mentally recite relaxing. But what do I mean by the phrase silently and mentally recite? These are the words that we feed to our inner narrator. The same way we might feed fruit into a running blender to make a morning smoothie. So we've learned what these words are on the left. What are these words on the right? These words on the right serve as a type of tabulatory notation. In other words, they help us to not lose track. Yeah, sure, we could use a mala, but malas can get lost or stolen or broken, or in the age of fascism, confiscated. I'm very grateful that many years ago, Nanji Bengali turned me onto the crease counting system. Just like when you go to a gym, you have sets and you have reps. We're going to count our sets on our left hand and repetitions on our right. Although tonight we're just going to focus on our repetitions. And we're going to count upon the 3 sets of creases and tip of our right little finger. First our lower set of creases, then our middle set of creases, then our higher set of creases, and then the tip. And we will advance the thumb in harmony with each in-breath. Our job is not to force the breathing. Our job is not to suppress thought. Thoughts are going to happen. When you sit in a theater and you nibble on your popcorn and you sip your beverage, you're not surprised when images appear on the screen. Likewise, when we silently and mentally recite Boon for All during the in-breath, and then silently and mentally recite relaxing during the out-breath, we should not be surprised when we have different thoughts or feelings or memories or perceptions. Just sit back and enjoy the show while savoring the silent and mental recitation. Now, in addition to silently and mentally reciting the word relaxing as you breathe out, try to relax as best you can. The good news is that we are already hardwired in our brain stems to relax at least somewhat during each exhalation. And so, by silently and mentally reciting the word relaxing during the out-breath, what we're doing is harmonizing our intention with our factory-installed wiring. So without any further ado, let's jump right in. Boon for all, relaxing. So when we say all, what do we mean? We mean all living beings upon this planet. All living beings who either walk or crawl or swim or fly about this planet we call Earth. Oh, excuse me. Now, we begin with wishing love, and that's a very important practice. In fact, there are many people who feel that this is what the Buddha meant by the second part of the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path begins with right view of reality, and then right aspirations. And so wishing love is training in right aspiration. But right after that, there are 3 other folds that deal with our verbal actions and our physical actions and our vocational actions. And the inference is that although it's good and necessary to begin with wishing love, our love must translate into our behavior. Now, clearly, very few of us are Jeff Bezos. Very few of us are a multi-billionaire with the means to house and clothe and feed and educate, no less employ every adult. But there's something relatively easy we can do that can have a direct result on literally thousands of living beings. Now, that's not the entire population of Earth, but it's a very good start. What is that one thing we can do? We can choose as individuals to not kill or exploit other beings, that we might eat their bodies or drink their milk or eat their eggs or make use of their talents or their skin or components of their bodies in any way, shape, or form. And then once we've decided not to kill or slaughter or trap or snare, we can stop paying other people to do that on our behalf with our consumer dollars. The good news is that the World Health Organizations and the National Institutes of Health agree that a whole food vegan diet is not only sustainable, but optimal for human beings. If that seems a little overwhelming, that's okay. In the, what's that called? In the description area below this video on YouTube, there's a link to my pal Mike Dearborn's channel. He names his channel Mike the Vegan. He spells it M-I-C because he's clearly much cooler than myself. And it's a wonderful resource. It's both lowbrow and highbrow. It's both pragmatic and theoretical. It's both uses science and humor. You'll really enjoy it. Let's continue with our meditation. Now that we've completed our mandatory vegan flogging of the evening, we now turn our attention to bodies. Don't leave home without yours. Okay, we're going to now count upon the 3 creases and tip of our right ring finger. Health for all, relaxing, especially during the time of pandemic. This is very easy wish to embrace. Health for all, relaxing. We turn the page now. And we wish love for all. And when we say love in this context, we're talking about people's relationships, platonic and otherwise. There is a passage, there is a discourse where Ananda says to the Buddha, and I paraphrase, is not half the spiritual path our companionship with others? To which the Buddha said, no, it's the entirety of the path. In other words, there's no such thing as a curmudgeonly Buddha. Love is integral to our spiritual journey. Now, we clearly cannot control how others feel towards us, but we can wish others harmonious relationships. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. Let us count upon the 3 creases and tip of our right middle finger. Love for all, relaxing. And now we come to our final meditation of the evening. Minds. And so we wish wisdom for all. Well, the actual phrase is wise for all, relaxing, but that's, of course, horrible grammar. And we're wishing people is wisdom. Not necessarily the cleverness to create a longer lasting light bulb, although there's nothing wrong with that, but the wisdom of letting go. The wisdom that lets go of our hatred, of loss and pain and scorn and shame. The wisdom that lets go of our greed for gain and bliss and praise and fame, as well as the wisdom that lets go of our grasping at circumstance and body and relationships and mind. This is the wisdom of letting go that we cultivate upon the Buddha's path of liberation. And this is what we are wishing for all beings everywhere. Yes, even the squirrels. Wise for all, relaxing. Come, let us count upon the 3 sets of creases and the tip of our right index finger. That concludes the guided meditation portion of tonight's live stream. Now I come to the portion of the live stream where I insult your intelligence by reading to you. Let us discuss the path of mastery. What if the word enlightenment was merely a fancy way of describing the mastery of centering and compassion and mindfulness and love and letting go? But what could we mean by the term mastery? Abraham Maslow described the path to mastery in the following 4 steps. Unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence. What does that mean? So unconscious incompetence means not only are we incompetent at something, we don't even know we are. Kind of like, Cinnamon Hitler. Conscious incompetence is when we know we are clueless on something. Conscious competence is when we receive instruction and we work really hard to apply it, and with great effort we can apply it for short periods of time. Then it brings us to unconscious competence. When we have mastered the archetypical dakinis of vulnerability, non-grasping, let's try this again. When have we mastered the archetypical dakinis, vulnerability, non-grasping, compassion, and centered spontaneity? When we practice her teachings spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. And our practices so define us, we no longer chase a goal, but are so content to practice the path that we no longer even feel the need to ask whether or not we have mastered it. That concludes tonight's live stream. My friends, I thank you for your time and your kind attention. As you practice these techniques, questions will occur to you. Jot them down. Ask me those questions, either through a direct message in the comment area on YouTube or a direct message on Instagram, and or during tomorrow night's live stream. And I'll do my best to answer either during a live stream or during a blog post or a podcast. Until next we speak, may you and yours be happy and healthy.